Alec Theron stared out the viewport, his brow furrowed in deep contemplation. The stars that had once shone so brightly against the inky blackness of space were now fading, their luminous glow slowly being snuffed out one by one. What could be causing this? He murmured, more to himself than the rest of the crew gathered on the bridge. I wish I knew, Alec, Admiral Samantha Voss replied, her weathered face etched with worry. But that's why I've called you and your team here. We need your expertise to get to the bottom of this. Alec turned to face the Admiral, his expression grim. You realize the implications of what we're dealing with here, don't you? If the stars continue to go dark at this rate, the entire known universe could be consumed by darkness within a single generation. Voss nodded solemnly. I'm well aware of the stakes, Theron. That's why I need you and your crew on this mission. You're the best chance we have at uncovering the cause and finding a way to stop it. Alec let out a heavy sigh, running a hand through his short, dark hair. He had spent the better part of his career charting the farthest reaches of the galaxy, mapping uncharted systems and making first contact with alien civilizations. But this was unlike anything he had ever encountered before. All right, Samantha, you've got my team. What do you need us to do? I need you to take the Valiant and head to the edge of known space. That's where the phenomenon seems to be originating. Gather as much data as you can, and see if you can't trace the cause back to its source. Alec nodded, his mind already racing with 1,000 questions. And the timeline? We're on the clock, Theron. You've got 2 weeks. If you can't figure this out by then, we may have to start evacuating populated systems. Alec's eyes widened at the gravity of the situation. Evacuating entire star systems would be an unprecedented undertaking, one that would tax humanity's resources to the breaking point. The implications were staggering. Understood. We'll get started immediately. Good luck, Alec. The fate of the universe may very well rest on your shoulders. Alec could only nod in response as Voss turned and strode off the bridge, her footsteps echoing in the tense silence. 2 weeks? That's barely enough time to, Maya Flores began, her brow furrowed in concern. I know, Maya, but we don't have a choice. Alec cut her off, his voice firm but tinged with a hint of worry. We have to make this work. The fate of the entire galaxy is at stake. Maya opened her mouth to protest, but the look in Alec's eyes silenced her. She knew better than to argue with him when he had that determined glint in his gaze. Instead, she nodded reluctantly. All right, Captain. Where do we start? Alec turned his attention back to the view screen, watching as another distant star flickered and died. We head to the edge of the known galaxy. That's where the phenomenon seems to be emanating from. Maybe we can trace it back to the source. And what exactly are we looking for? Maya asked, her mind already whirring with possibilities. Anything that could be causing the stars to go dark, Alec replied. Some kind of unnatural interference, a disturbance in the fabric of space-time, I don't know. But we have to find it, and we have to find it fast. Maya nodded, already making her way to the engineering deck. I'll have the Valiant prepped and ready to go in 30 minutes. You'd better brief the rest of the crew. Alec watched as she hurried off, a small smile tugging at the corners of his lips. For all her impatience and recklessness, Maya was undoubtedly one of the best engineers he'd ever worked with. If anyone could find a solution to this cosmic crisis, it would be her. The Valiant streaked through the void of space, its powerful engines propelling it ever deeper into the unknown. Alec stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the distant horizon as the stars continued to wink out, one by one. Captain, we're approaching the edge of the known galaxy, the pilot, Jackson, reported. Sensors are picking up some unusual readings, but nothing conclusive yet. Alec nodded, his jaw set with determination. Slow to quarter speed and keep scanning. I want to know the instant you detect anything out of the ordinary. Aye, Captain. Alec turned to survey the rest of the crew, a mix of seasoned veterans and promising young recruits. They were all experts in their respective fields, hand-picked by Voss for this critical mission. But even their combined expertise might not be enough to solve the mystery of the dying stars. "All right, listen up, everyone," Alec began, his voice commanding the attention of the crew. "As you all know, we're facing a crisis of unfathomable proportions. The very fabric of the universe appears to be unraveling, and it's up to us to find the cause and stop it before it's too late." He paused, letting the gravity of his words sink in. "We don't have much time. Admiral Voss has given us 2 weeks to trace the source of this phenomenon and devise a solution. Failure is not an option." Alec's gaze swept across the assembled crew, his eyes filled with a mixture of determination and uncertainty. "I know this is an impossible task, but I also know that each and every one of you is the best at what you do. We've faced impossible odds before, and we've come out on top. This time will be no different." Maya stepped forward, her expression resolute. "Captain, we're with you, 100%. Just tell us what you need us to do." Alec felt a surge of pride and gratitude, his heart swelling with the knowledge that he was surrounded by a team of the most talented and dedicated individuals in the galaxy. "All right, then, let's get to work." The Valiant pushed ever deeper into the void, the crew working tirelessly to try and uncover the cause of the dying stars. Maya and her engineering team pored over the sensor data, searching for any clues that might lead them to the source of the phenomenon. "Captain, we're picking up some strange energy readings just ahead," Jackson reported, his brow furrowed in concentration. "It's unlike anything I've ever encountered before." Alec leaned forward in his seat, his eyes narrowing. "Can you pinpoint the origin?" Jackson shook his head. "Negative, sir. The readings are fluctuating too rapidly to get an accurate fix, but they seem to be coming from a region where the star density is much lower than normal." Alec turned to Maya, who was already typing furiously at her console. "Can you get a better read on those energy signatures?" Maya's fingers danced across the holographic interface, her eyes narrowed in intense focus. "Working on it, Captain. Whatever's causing this, it's emitting some kind of, I don't know, distortion field. It's scrambling our sensors like crazy." Alec's jaw tightened. "Is it a natural phenomenon or something artificial?" Maya shook her head, her expression grim. "I can't say for sure, but the energy signatures don't match anything we've encountered before. This could be the work of an advanced alien civilization, or—" She trailed off, her eyes widening with realization. "Or something else entirely." Alec felt a chill run down his spine. "What are you thinking, Maya?" "Captain, what if this isn't just about the stars going dark?" Maya said, her voice suddenly hushed. "What if it's about the entire fabric of the universe being torn apart?" Alec stared at her, his heart pounding in his chest. "You mean?" "I mean, we might be dealing with the end of everything." "Alec," Maya said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The end of the cosmos as we know it." The bridge fell silent, the crew exchanging uneasy glances as the full weight of Maya's words sank in. Alec felt a cold dread settle in the pit of his stomach, his mind racing with the implications. "Then we need to find the source of this distortion, and we need to find it fast," he said, his voice calm and determined. "Maya, keep analyzing those energy readings. Jackson, maintain course and speed. We need to get to the heart of this phenomenon before it's too late." The crew sprang into action, their faces set with grim determination. Alec turned his gaze back to the viewscreen, watching as more stars blinked out of existence. The fate of the universe hung in the balance, and he knew that failure was simply not an option. The Valiant pushed on, its engines straining against the ever-increasing resistance of the void. The further they traveled, the more intense the energy distortions became, until the very fabric of space seemed to warp and ripple around them. "Captain, the readings are off the charts," Maya shouted, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and fascination. "Whatever's causing this, it's something we've never encountered before." Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles turning white. "Can you pinpoint the source?" Maya shook her head, her fingers flying across the console. Negative, the distortions are too severe. I'm getting scrambled data from every direction. It's like the very laws of physics are being rewritten around us. Alec's jaw tightened. Then we'll have to go in blind. Jackson, take us in, full impulse. We need to find the center of this thing, now. Jackson's face was etched with concern, but he nodded and turned his attention back to the controls. Aye, Captain. Engaging full impulse. The Valiant surged forward, its hull creaking and groaning as it pushed through the increasingly turbulent space. Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles turning white as he watched the viewscreen intently. Suddenly, a bright light flashed in the distance, causing Alec to shield his eyes. When the afterimage had faded, he gasped in horror at the sight before him. Where once there had been a vibrant, teeming cluster of stars, there was now only darkness. An endless, all-consuming void that seemed to stretch on forever, devouring everything in its path. My God. Alec breathed, his voice barely above a whisper. What is that thing? Maya's face was pale, her eyes wide with terror. I don't know. But it's not natural, Alec. It's almost as if the fabric of reality itself is being torn apart. Alec turned to her, his expression grim. Can we stop it? Maya hesitated, her brow furrowed in deep thought. I'm not sure. This is unlike anything I've ever encountered before. The amount of energy required to do something like this, it's... She trailed off, shaking her head in disbelief. I don't know if we have the resources or the technology to counteract a force of this magnitude. Alec's jaw tightened, his mind racing. We have to try, Maya. The fate of the entire universe is at stake. Maya nodded, her expression resolute. Then let's get to work. As the Valiant pressed on, the crew worked tirelessly to unravel the mystery of the cosmic cataclysm unfolding before them. But with each passing hour, the darkness continued to spread, consuming the stars one by one, until it seemed that the very fabric of existence was being torn asunder. Alec stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the ever-expanding void, his heart heavy with a dread he had never known. They were running out of time, and he knew it. The fate of the universe rested on their shoulders, and the future had never looked more uncertain. The Valiant emerged from the distortion field, its hull scarred and battered from the intense stresses of the journey. Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles white as he surveyed the eerie stillness of the void before them. Status report, he demanded, his voice tight with tension. Engines at 50%, life support systems nominal, Jackson replied, his brow furrowed in concentration. But sensors are still scrambled. Whatever we just passed through, it did a number on our systems. Alec nodded grimly. And the stars? Jackson shook his head. Gone, sir. As far as I can tell, we're the only celestial bodies for light years in any direction. Alec felt a chill run down his spine. The implications of what they had discovered were staggering. An entire region of space, devoid of stars. It was as if the very fabric of the universe had been torn asunder. Captain, we're picking up something on the long-range scanners, Maya called out from the engineering station, her fingers flying across the console. It looks like some kind of outpost or station, maybe? I can't get a clear reading on it, but it's the only thing out here besides us. Alec's eyes narrowed. Can you get us closer, Jackson? Aye, sir, the pilot responded, guiding the Valiant forward with deft precision. As they drew nearer, the mysterious structure gradually came into focus, a massive, angular edifice that seemed to defy the laws of physics, its very existence a testament to the technological prowess of its creators. By the gods! Alec breathed, his eyes widening in awe and trepidation. Maya, what are we looking at? Maya's face was etched with a mixture of fascination and unease. I'm not sure, Alec. This is unlike anything I've ever seen. The materials, the construction, it's all completely foreign to me. It's as if it was built by an alien civilization we've never encountered before. Alec turned to the rest of the crew, his expression grave. Helm, bring us in for a closer look, but maintain a safe distance. I want scans of every inch of that structure, and I want them yesterday." "Aye, Captain," Jackson replied, guiding the Valiant closer to the looming outpost. As they approached, Alec felt a growing sense of unease. There was something about the structure that seemed wrong, for lack of a better word. It was as if it existed outside the normal constraints of the universe, defying the very laws of nature. "Captain, I'm detecting some kind of energy signature emanating from the outpost," Maya reported, her brow furrowed in concentration. "It quotes ... it quotes unlike anything I've ever seen. It's almost as if it's pushing against the fabric of space-time itself." Alec felt a chill run down his spine. "Can you determine the source?" Maya shook her head, her expression troubled. "Negative, sir. The signature is too diffuse, too pervasive. It's as if the entire structure is generating this energy field." Alec's jaw tightened. "Jackson, bring us in closer, but keep us out of range of whatever that thing is putting out. I want a full tactical analysis before we make any moves." "Aye, Captain," Jackson replied, guiding the Valiant into a holding pattern just beyond the outpost energy field. As the scans continued, the crew remained on edge, their nerves frayed by the eerie silence and the unsettling presence of the strange structure. Alec paced the bridge, his mind racing with 1,000 questions. What was the true nature of this outpost? And what did it have to do with the disappearance of the stars? The answers, he knew, could very well hold the key to unraveling the mystery at the heart of the cosmic decay. Days turned into weeks as the Valiant conducted its investigation, probing the outpost from every angle, searching for any clues that might unlock the secrets of its origins and purpose. Maya and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing the scans and data, but with each passing day, their frustration only grew. "Alec, there's something I need to show you," Maya said, her voice tinged with a rare note of uncertainty. Alec looked up from the tactical display, his brow furrowed. "What is it, Maya?" Maya gestured to the holographic interface, her fingers rapidly manipulating the controls. "I've been going over the scans, and well, I think I may have found the source of the energy signature we've been detecting." Alec leaned in, his eyes narrowing as he studied the data. "And?" Maya took a deep breath. "It quotes ... it quotes the entire structure. Alec, the outpost itself is generating this field, for lack of a better term. It's almost as if it's manipulating the very fabric of space-time around it." Alec felt a chill run down his spine. "Manipulating space-time? Are you saying this thing is, what, warping reality?" Maya nodded grimly. "That's exactly what I'm saying, Alec. And the implications are..." She trailed off, her expression troubled. Alec placed a hand on her shoulder, his gaze steady. "Tell me, Maya, what are the implications?" Maya met his eyes, her own filled with a mixture of fear and determination. "If my analysis is correct, then this outpost, this thing, it's not just causing the stars to go dark. It quotes ... it quotes tearing the very fabric of the universe apart, Alec. And if we don't find a way to stop it, then everything, the entire cosmos, could be destroyed." Alec's breath caught in his throat, the weight of Maya's words settling like a lead weight in the pit of his stomach. He had known that the stakes were high, but this was beyond anything he could have imagined. "How much time do we have, Maya?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Maya shook her head, her expression grim. "I don't know, Alec. The rate of decay is accelerating, and the energy field around the outpost is growing stronger with every passing day. At this rate, I'd say we have, maybe a month, 2 at the most, before the entire known galaxy is swallowed by the darkness." Alec felt his heart racing, the gravity of the situation threatening to overwhelm him. But even as the fear threatened to consume him, he knew that he could not afford to succumb to despair. Too much was at stake. "All right, then," he said, his voice steady and resolute. "We need to find a way to shut down that outpost, or at least disrupt its energy field. Can you come up with a plan, Maya?" Maya's eyes narrowed with determination. "I'll do my best, Alec. but we're going to need to take some big risks if we want to have any chance of succeeding. Alec nodded, his jaw set with grim determination. I'm ready. Whatever it takes, we have to stop this thing before it's too late. The Valiant crept closer to the outpost, its engines barely above a whisper as it approached the edge of the energy field. Alec stood at the helm, his eyes fixed on the looming structure, his heart pounding in his chest. Are we in range, Maya? He asked, his voice low and tense. Affirmative, Alec, Maya replied, her fingers flying across the console. We're as close as we can get without getting pulled into that thing's sphere of influence. Alec nodded, his expression grim. All right, then, let's do this. He turned to the rest of the crew, his gaze sweeping across their faces. Listen up, everyone. We all know the stakes here. If we can't find a way to disrupt that energy field, then the entire galaxy, hell, the entire universe could be destroyed. So I need you all to be at your absolute best, because there's no room for error. The crew nodded, their faces set with determination. Maya, what's the plan? Alec asked, turning his attention to the young engineer. Maya took a deep breath, her fingers still dancing across the console. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I've been studying the energy signatures coming from the outpost, and I think I've found a way to disrupt the field using our own systems. She paused, her brow furrowed in concentration. It's risky, though. We'll have to push the Valiant's engines to the absolute limit, and even then, we might not have enough power to completely neutralize the field. Alec nodded, his expression grim. We don't have a choice. Maya, do it. Maya's eyes widened. Alec, are you sure? The stress on the engines could tear the ship apart, and even if we do manage to disrupt the field, we might not be able to get back out before. I know the risks, Maya, Alec interrupted, his voice firm. But we have to try. We're the only ones who can stop this thing, and I'm not about to let the entire universe be destroyed on my watch. Maya stared at him for a long moment, her eyes searching his face. Then, she nodded, her expression resolute. All right, then, let's do this. Alec turned to the rest of the crew, his gaze sweeping across their faces. You all know what's at stake. I won't lie to you, this is going to be the fight of our lives. But I believe in each and every one of you. We've faced impossible odds before, and we've always come out on top. He paused, his eyes narrowing. So let's show this ancient abomination what the human spirit is made of. Are you with me? The crew erupted into a chorus of cheers and battle cries, their voices echoing through the confines of the Valiant's bridge. Alec felt a surge of pride and determination as he watched them, his heart swelling with the knowledge that he was surrounded by the bravest, most capable crew in the galaxy. All right, then, he said, his voice ringing with purpose. Let's do this. With that, he turned to the helm, his eyes fixed on the looming outpost. Jackson, full impulse. Let's show this thing what we're made of. The Valiant surged forward, its engines roaring to life as it plunged into the heart of the energy field. Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles turning white as he watched the tactical display, his heart pounding in his chest. The battle had begun. The Valiant plunged deeper into the heart of the outpost's energy field, its hull groaning under the immense stress. Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his eyes narrowed in concentration as he watched the tactical displays. Status report, he barked, his voice barely audible over the roar of the strained engines. Shields down to 30% and falling, Jackson shouted, his fingers flying across the controls. The energy field is tearing us apart. Alec's jaw tightened. Maya, how much longer until we can disrupt that field? Maya's face was etched with strain, her hands a blur as she worked. I'm giving it everything I've got, Alec, but the power requirements are off the charts. I don't know if we have enough juice to pull this off. Alec felt a surge of desperation. They had come too far, risked too much, to fail now. We don't have a choice, Maya. Keep pushing. As the Valiant hurtled deeper into the maelstrom, Alec couldn't help but reflect on how they had reached this point. It had been a journey of discovery, of facing impossible odds, and of forging an unbreakable bond between the crew. But now, the very fate of the universe hung in the balance. Suddenly, a flash of light on the horizon caught Alec's eye. He squinted, his heart pounding, as a massive, menacing shape emerged from the darkness. "What the hell is that?" he breathed, his voice laced with dread. "Captain, we're picking up multiple contacts on the long-range scanners," Jackson reported, his voice strained. They're not ours." Alec felt a chill run down his spine. "Hostile?" Jackson hesitated, his expression grim. "I can't say for sure, sir, but they're definitely not friendly." Alec turned to Maya, his face set with determination. "Can we take them?" Maya shook her head, her eyes wide with fear. "Alec, I don't know. Our systems are barely holding together as it is. I don't think we have the firepower to take on whatever that thing is, let alone whatever else is out there." Alec cursed under his breath, his mind racing. They had come so far, only to be confronted with an even greater threat. But he knew they couldn't back down, not now. "Jackson, keep us on course. Maya, keep working on that disruption field. We don't have a choice. We have to stop this, no matter what it takes." The crew nodded, their faces set with grim determination, and the Valiant surged forward, hurtling towards the heart of the outpost's power source. Alec braced himself, his heart pounding in his chest, as the massive alien vessel loomed ever closer. The battle was a blur of chaos and destruction. The Valiant, its systems barely holding together, engaged in a desperate struggle against the alien invaders, their weapons blazing with devastating power. Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles white, as he watched the tactical display. "Jackson, evasive maneuvers. Maya, how's that disruption field coming?" "I'm giving it everything I've got, Alec," Maya shouted, her voice strained. "But the power requirements are off the charts. I don't know if we have enough juice to pull this off." Alec's jaw tightened. "We have to try, Maya. The fate of the universe is at stake." Maya nodded, her expression resolute, and redoubled her efforts. Alec turned his attention back to the battle, his mind racing. The alien vessel was unlike anything he had ever seen, a massive, angular behemoth that seemed to defy the very laws of physics. Its weapons pounded the Valiant's battered shields, and Alec could feel the ship trembling beneath his feet. "Shields down to 10%, Jackson reported, his voice tense. "I don't know how much longer we can hold out." Alec gritted his teeth, his mind racing. They were running out of time, and he knew it. If they didn't find a way to disrupt that energy field soon, the entire universe would be consumed by the darkness. Suddenly, a blast rocked the Valiant, sending sparks flying across the bridge. Alec grabbed the console to steady himself, his eyes widening as he saw the alien vessel charging up for another devastating volley. "Brace for impact," he shouted, his voice filled with dread. The Valiant shuddered as the alien weapon slammed into its shields. The bridge plunged into darkness as the emergency lights flickered to life. Alec felt a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach as he realized that their shields had been breached. "Damage report," he barked, his voice laced with urgency. "Hull breach on deck 4, Jackson replied, his voice strained. "We've lost primary life support and weapons systems. We're dead in the water, Captain." Alec felt his heart sink as he realized the true gravity of their situation. They were crippled, their only hope of disrupting the energy field slipping through their fingers. He turned to Maya, his expression grim. "Maya, we're out of time. Can you still pull this off?" Maya's face was etched with fear and determination. I don't know, Alec. The power requirements are beyond anything we've ever encountered. Without the full functionality of the Valiant, I don't know if I can generate enough energy to disrupt that field." Alec felt a surge of desperation. They had come so far, only to be brought down by a single, devastating blow. He turned to the rest of the crew, his eyes sweeping across their faces. "Listen up, everyone," he said, his voice steady and resolute. "I know this looks bleak, But we can't give up. The fate of the entire universe is at stake, and we're the only ones who can stop it." He paused, his gaze hardening. "Maya, I need you to give me everything you've got. Jackson, I need you to reroute every available power source to the disruption field. The rest of you, prepare for the fight of your lives. We're going to show this ancient abomination what the human spirit is made of." The crew erupted into a chorus of cheers and battle cries, their voices echoing through the battered confines of the Valiant's bridge. Alec felt a surge of pride and determination as he watched them, his heart swelling with the knowledge that he was surrounded by the bravest, most capable crew in the galaxy. "All right, then," he said, his voice ringing with purpose. "Let's do this." The Valiant shuddered as Maya poured every ounce of power into the disruption field, the energy crackling across the bridge as the crew braced themselves for the onslaught. "Alec, I don't know if this is going to work," Maya shouted, her face etched with strain. "The power requirements are off the charts, and we're barely holding together as it is." Alec gripped the arms of his chair, his knuckles white. "We don't have a choice, Maya. Do it." Maya nodded, her expression resolute, and redoubled her efforts. The Valiant shook and groaned as the disruption field surged to life, the energy rippling across the void like a shockwave. For a moment, the alien vessel seemed to waver, its powerful weapons faltering as the field disrupted its systems. Alec felt a surge of hope, his heart pounding in his chest. "It's working," he shouted, his voice filled with triumph. "Keep it up, Maya." But the victory was short-lived. The alien vessel quickly recovered, its weapons blazing with renewed fury. The Valiant shuddered under the barrage, its already battered shields collapsing. "Shields down," Jackson reported, his voice laced with panic. "Hull breach on multiple decks. We're not going to make it, Alec." Alec felt a sinking feeling in the pit of his stomach as he realized the truth of Jackson's words. They had come so far, only to be defeated at the final hurdle. He turned to Maya, his expression grim. "Maya, is there anything else we can do?" Maya shook her head, her face etched with despair. "I'm sorry, Alec. We've given it everything we've got, but it's just not enough. The power requirements are beyond anything we can handle, and the damage to the Valiant ... it quotas too much." Alec felt a surge of anger and frustration. They had fought so hard, sacrificed so much, and now it was all for naught. He gritted his teeth, his eyes narrowing as he turned his attention back to the battle. The alien vessel was bearing down on them, its weapons primed for the final, devastating blow. Alec knew that they were out of time, that there was nothing they could do to stop it. But he refused to go down without a fight. "All hands, prepare for impact," he shouted, his voice ringing with defiance. "We're going to show this ancient abomination what the human spirit is made of." The crew responded with a roar of determination, their voices echoing through the battered confines of the Valiant's bridge. Alec felt a surge of pride and resolve as he watched them, his heart swelling with the knowledge that he was surrounded by the bravest, most capable crew in the galaxy. As the alien vessel's weapons charged up for the final, devastating blow, Alec closed his eyes, his mind racing. He thought of the countless stars that had been snuffed out, of the unimaginable cosmic catastrophe that they had been powerless to stop, and he knew, with a sinking feeling, that this was the end. But even as the darkness closed in, Alec felt a glimmer of hope, for in the face of such overwhelming odds, his crew had never faltered, never given up. They had fought with every ounce of their being, and even in the face of certain defeat, they had never wavered. And as the alien vessel's weapons unleashed their fury, Alec felt a sense of peace wash over him. For he knew, in that moment, that no matter what happened, the human spirit would endure. Even as the last stars blinked out, humanity would find a way to carry on, to forge a new path through the darkness. And as the Valiant was consumed by the blinding light of the alien vessel's weapons, Alec knew that he and his crew had done everything in their power to try and save the universe. And though they had failed, they would be remembered as the ones who had dared to defy the very laws of the cosmos. In the end, as the Valiant was reduced to atoms, Alec knew that the legacy of humanity would live on. For even in the face of unimaginable adversity, the human spirit would never be extinguished. And as the last ember of the Valiant's engines flickered and died, Alec knew that this was not the end, but merely the beginning of a new chapter in the endless saga of humanity's struggle against the ever-encroaching darkness.